Hello, today I want to introduce the new Vulcan FC-500 flatbed cutter to you. Vulcan is a new brand for digital finishing products like flatbed cutters and other products that will be available in the future. And it will be distributed exclusively through us in Europe. The Vulcan machine, as you can see here, it comes with two tools. Usually you will be using one creasing tool and one cutting tool. It comes with a touch screen operation. So I'm just going to switch on the machine. As you can see, the whole operation is done through that touch screen control. When you're switching it on, it will reset and automatically move to the lower left position. Now, here in the touch screen, we can see the operating panel, which is made very simple. So it's very, very easy to use the machine. On the left-hand side, you can see the cursor keys where you can move the cutting head, which we're going to do now. As you can see, the cutting head is moving. Now, as you see, it is rather slow. So usually when you want to reach a position very quickly, here you can adjust between the speed. So from 1, if you just touch it, it will move to 10. And then we have very fast operation speed. So it's moving to the left and right very quickly. So with the cursor keys, we can easily move the machine. And here in the settings, we can adjust different settings. We can calibrate the machine. We can adjust the offset. We have a so-called cutting mode setting where we can switch between normal mode, precision mode, and high-speed mode, depending on your requirements. If we go back into the main touchscreen, in the next setting we can adjust speed and force, which is done very easily through these sliders. So you can set the speed, which is a maximum of 700 millimeters per second, and a downforce of maximum of 600 gram. You can adjust that for both tools. As you can see from the logos, the one is supposed to be the creasing tool and the other one is the cutting tool. So just easily adjust it here. The vacuum pump will be activated when you push the vacuum button, which will of course increase the noise. Let's see that. Now we can hear the vacuum pump, and when it's applied with the machine, you can see it below the machine, and with another click on the vacuum logo, it will automatically switch off. In order to do a test cut, we just click the test cut option, and the machine will do a test cut. At the moment, we don't have any media inside the machine, so that's why it didn't really cut anything. But once we put some media in the machine, we can easily test if our knife settings are correct for the material that we're currently using. In the middle, we have a pause button here. When the machine is operating, you can easily pause it if you need to adjust something or in case something goes wrong. Here, as you can see, there's a small USB drive where you can click, and there you can access the file system of a small USB thumb drive that is installed in the machine. So you can just plug it in and have your PLT files and cut from there. So this way, you don't need a computer to actually operate the machine. And for example, if your computer is too far away from the machine, you can just put your data on the USB thumb drive, go to the machine, plug it in, and start working without the computer. In the lower section, there are 3 more symbols. We have the recut option. So if you have exactly the same job to be cut multiple times, you can just easily press recut and it will do the same job. So it will store the data in the machine. And then here we have 2 more options, which is move to origin and setting the origin point. So if I set the origin point at a certain position, so usually at the lower left, say set origin, and then if I move somewhere else, or if the machine has finished cutting, by pressing the move to origin, it will automatically move back to the origin position. This is also very helpful for recutting. So once you've done a job and you're doing the same job, you just insert it, click move to origin and recut, and This way you can continuously cut without needing to reposition everything again. The machine has an integrated CCD camera for the registration mark detection, which is more precise and especially a lot faster than a regular detection with an infrared sensor. It's also more versatile because it enables reverse creasing functionality. Now, what does reverse creasing mean? With many machines or many flatbed cutters, you often have the problem if you want to crease a printed material, you'll get cracking and very bad results because the creasing goes right through the print itself. In order to solve that problem, we have this reverse creasing functionality. So you put in the media, the camera will recognize the registration marks, which are small black dots, and then it will actually cut the registration marks in the first step, so they will fall out, and then you just turn the material around, and the holes that were created will now function as new registration marks to cut from the back. And then you send the same job again. The software will automatically mirror the job to compensate for the switched material, and then you do the actual creasing from the back and not from the front. So the print on the front of the material will not be affected at all. It will not crack, and you will have great results. So this is perfect if you have high quality material like small boxes or some luxury material that you want to cut. That's what the reverse creasing function is for. As you can see from the panel, all functions are very easily accessible, so there are no complicated menus. You have this touch screen control, which will help you to adjust everything very easily. The machine can be used with the sign cut software that comes with the machine. In order to use sign cut, you will need Illustrator or CorelDRAW, and then you can just integrate sign cut into the software. So if you have a workflow using Illustrator or CorelDRAW, it's very easy to use it with sign cut. So you just click on the sign cut logo, and then it will automatically open your file in sign cut, and then you can easily send it to the machine. Another option is the DrawCut software. DrawCut also fully supports this machine, so you can easily create your data in DrawCut. If you're already working with DrawCut, you can use your existing data. And for example, if you download a bitmap file and you want to trace it, it's very easy to do that in DrawCut. And then you can also send it from DrawCut to the machine. DrawCut also has the option to save the data as the PLT file on your USB thumb drive, and then you can just use only the USB drive, which will help you make it very easy to work without the computer. The blue bottom mat where you put on your material, it's a double-sided mat. So after a few months, when cutting into the material, you might need to replace it. But before you need a fully new mat, what you can easily do is just take it out and then turn it around. And as you can see, it looks exactly the same way on the back as it does on the front. So you can basically use the mat twice. So it just fits in like that very easily. And then you can reuse that mat. There's also a gray felt mat available that's recommended for creasing material. Okay, so in order to start a cut, here we have our printed collection of pumpkins, because it's Halloween tomorrow actually. So I just put it in. There are those lines on the cutting mat that help you to align the material properly, but of course the machine will compensate automatically in case you don't align it perfectly. Now the light here is on, and what we need to do first is set the origin point, and therefore we just need to position the blade holder above the lower left black dot. So I'm just going to move it here. I'm going to switch to speed 1 for an easy exact positioning. Doesn't need to be positioned perfectly because the camera will recognize it anyway. So just push the origin, and what we need to do next is activate the vacuum pump for the operation, and then start the cutting. So here I just click the cut logo, here I click start, and then there's a final question to continue cutting. So when I click start here, it will automatically recognize the cutting mark, which is very fast due to the camera, and then it will start cutting. Okay, so now we're finished with the actual cutting, so we can just stop the vacuum pump. And yeah, now we have our pumpkins cut out. So as you can see, they're very smoothly cut. That's the way it should be. They easily fall out of the material. And there we have our set of pumpkins for Halloween tonight. Of course, the machine comes with an emergency safety switch, so whenever you run into problems or if the material is stuck inside the machine or you can see that the cutting goes wrong, at any time you can just hit the emergency switch and the machine will fully switch off, will be completely out of power, so there's nothing that can happen. And in order to turn it on again, of course, you just rotate the emergency switch here, and then the machine will go into reset. Below the machine, there's there are the connectors. You have a USB and you have basically two USB ports, one to connect the machine to the computer and the second one to insert your USB thumb drive. The Vulcan vinyl flatbed cutter, it has a black matte finish, very high quality finish. Also the stand, it's a very solid stand with a nice black finish. Due to the CCD camera that recognizes the crop marks, the cutting is very efficient. So it's very, very fast to recognize the registration marks, and the cutting process itself with 700 millimeters per second is extremely fast, as you can see in the video. So it's a perfect machine for highly efficient production of digital finishing, of creasing and cutting media, and we think it's a perfect economic and efficient solution for these types of applications.